My name is Monica Gleberman, and you're listening to Silence on Set podcast. On today's podcast, we have two of the main cast members of a new film called Dig, which is about a dangerous couple that holds a father and daughter hostage, and they must work together to outsmart their captors and survive the night. So, to talk about the film and what it was like working together are real life father and daughter, Thomas Jane and Harlow Jane. Hi, guys. It's so nice to meet both of you.
Well, thank you. Nice to meet you.
I'm so excited. Father daughter. I'm very excited that you guys are in this movie together.
It doesn't happen every day.
I know. I know. Well, I'm just going to jump right in. So, this movie I found so interesting because of just like the dynamic, the tragedy that happens right in the beginning, and kind of how the story unfolds. So, we're trying not to give too much away about the film, but a tragedy happens in the beginning, and Harlow, your character becomes non-vocal, basically non-verbal. So what was I'm gonna, I guess, start with you. What was that like when you read the script and you're like, okay, I need to do some sort of signing, figure out how I'm gonna act without speaking? I mean, that's a very difficult thing to do.
Definitely. I mean, I definitely can't say that I was an experienced actor at the time of us shooting this and me reading the script, but I thought that there was something really poignant about it. Because I know that, I mean, a lot of teenage girls, obviously, you don't go through the same exact experience as Jane did, but they go through, I think a lot of teenage girls feel that they're kind of stripped of their voice, you know? And just in this particular case, it's a little bit more physical and visceral and real. And obviously I was kind of shitting myself. Can I curse?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. We're chill here. Don't worry. You can do whatever you want.
I was definitely shitting myself a little bit. I was like, how am I going to act if I don't have words? But I think that there was such a beautiful lesson, and it was such a gift to learn that you can tell a story without words. You can tell a story with your face and your eyes. And it's about just learning how to bring the internal external, and trying to communicate with the people around you even though they don't understand. And yeah, so that was the most rewarding thing for me too, is if I can kind of have the people watching and the people at home understand in some way what she's feeling and the things that she's going through without me having to open my mouth. That's great.
Well, to me, it's a testament to your acting, because I find it to be extremely difficult to do. And throughout the whole movie, I felt like I knew exactly what she was going through. So I just think you did a fantastic job with it.
Well, thank you.
We like to hear that.
Thomas, how was it for you? So you're working with your daughter, and then I'm assuming, right off the bat, for character chemistry, that must have been a little easier, seeing that you guys know each other. But how is that for you? Obviously, you're playing her dad. There's a tragedy that happens, and then you are still seeing Jane go through all of these horrible things that you have to act that are real, right? So how do you prep for that?
Well, you got to be on your game when you're working with a family member, especially a teenage daughter, because movies used to come on when Harlow was younger, and she would see me acting in a film, and she'd always look at me and goes, "That's not you. That doesn't sound like you. That's just not you." And then she'd walk away. And as an actor, you're like, okay, yeah. I mean, if there's a barometer for truth, it's going to be the girl that's known you her whole life. So you can't. Lying is bad. You can't really fake it around your kid. So it had to keep me on my toes. That's for sure. And then feeling safe enough between each other to be able to reveal things that we knew about each other, because we know each other really well. But there's the uncomfortable side of ourselves that we try to hide from people, and those are exactly, those are your tools as an actor. Those are the things that we want to see. So,
Yeah.
it's sort of the opposite of life in a way. And yet it's, if you're doing it right, it's a real reflection of who we are. So having that opportunity for each other made this a special movie.
Definitely.
Yeah, and you can definitely see it. I mean, right when it starts off, I mean, to open up into a tragedy and then kind of skip forward a little bit and literally go to another situation, like a high stakes situation.
Right.
So, again, when you're looking at the script, and this could be for both of you, and you're going, okay, we take the audience right into a huge tragic moment. A little bit of time passes. How do we get them to pull in to another situation that happens? It's almost like there's this line in the film where they say like lightning strikes twice, like, oh, that's so, like, I can't believe that happened to you guys again.
Right.
Mhm.
So as you're reading that, how do you prepare for both of them? Because you want the first one to pull people in, right? And then the
Mhm.
second one is the majority of the film, so you want to keep us going. So what did you each do to try to prep for each scene in
Well,
particular?
there's definitely playing into what you just said. It's like, I can't believe this is happening again,
Mhm.
and that gives you a lot to play with. But you certainly can't deny it. But playing into that incredulity, the anger behind that, why is this happening to me? Is this what is going on? How can this be happening again? That
Yeah.
kind of thing is sort of gave us some things to play with as
Mhm.
we get deeper into the movie and the stakes get higher.
And Harlow,
Totally agree.
I was gonna say, for you, how is that like preparing like the two different types of
Right.
scenes?
Well, I mean, I totally agree with what he said, but also I think for, at the beginning, it's when you're a young teen, like, sure, life is terrible, but life isn't that terrible.
Mhm.
And then something really terrible happens. And the intensity behind that, and I think, it being maybe one of the first tragedies of your life, but also it being that kind of really intense sort of tragedy kind of sets up your adolescence in a particular way, I think, in which, I mean, it's hard enough, I think, being a teenage girl. And then you sort of have to go through this horrible thing, followed by a horrible thing, followed by another horrible thing. Um, and the isolation that you feel, because it's not only are you going through these terrible life experiences, you can't even talk to anybody about it. From Jane's point of view, she can't even speak to anyone about it. Maybe her doctor, who has taken the time to learn, or not taken the time, but knows ASL. Not even her father really wants to communicate with her in ASL. Um, and so going from that, you're a teenage girl and you're in love. She has her boyfriend, and then it's that really intense emotional vibration to this kind of hollowed out, like, what more can this world take from me? How,
Mm.
and then also like just like crying for yourself, because at that point you've kind of learned that you can't communicate, so you're in your own head, in your own space the whole time.
It was a challenging role. We threw Harlow into the deep end in her first real performance. I think it was great to have Emil there and Liana there, and we had some seasoned actors, and Harlow really absorbed it like a sponge. She picked up on stuff real quick. She's what they call a natural.
Well, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's pretty crazy, and it's right off the bat. I mean, you just go running with it, and for both of your characters. And it's interesting because I brought up chemistry, right? Obviously, you guys know each other clearly because
Yeah.
you're related and all that stuff, which would make it easier. But at the same time, does it make it harder because you're in certain circumstances where there's a disconnection, right? There's a disconnection between
Mhm.
these two characters that seems to last almost for a majority of the film. Even their decision making is not on the same page. So is
Yeah.
that more difficult because you guys know each other and have a chemistry and you have to work that out as actors? Or like, how do you guys process that portion of it?
I mean, I think, or at least the way that I was sort of approaching it and felt just like instinctively was, I mean, I am a teenage girl still. I'm 19, and my early adolescence isn't very far behind me at this point. And I obviously I can say and admit that I was not the easiest teen to handle. I wasn't peaches and cream. So I think that him and I definitely harkened back and like reminded ourselves of just some of our more difficult times together, which was in a way really therapeutic and kind of beautiful in a weird way to reenact, because we could look at it not necessarily as actors or characters, but we could look at it as people just in a different light in that way,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a gift in that way. You're right. It was a gift to be able to have a safe space to express those kind of emotions and feelings that that are always there.
Mm-hmm.
And I could put in a little like spoiler warning because I do want to mention one scene in particular towards the end. Thomas, for
Mm-hmm.
your character, I feel like once you guys are sort of on the same page as to like we need to get out of the situation,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's when he is willing to do everything and anything to save his daughter. And so for you, how does that whole scene play out? Because I mean, there's so much going on with him to try to get her out of there. And it's like he will do anything, even if it's getting run over by a car. I mean, to get her to safety. So
Yeah,
what went into that? Because I mean, it's a very powerful, moment. And I don't want to give away, like Harlow, you have a very powerful, I think the most powerful probably line in the whole movie. Towards the end, but I won't give all of that away. But that moment is very powerful. So for
that-
Thomas, how is that for you?
well, it taps into some real primal stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and it's what he's been avoiding in a way throughout our story, and has had difficulty taking on the responsibility of the true impact that his actions have on his own daughter. And for him to sort of be able to throw all that off and say, I will do anything, that taps into some real deep stuff that was part of the reason why I wanted to do the movie and do the movie with Harlow. So there is, it gets real,
Hmm.
and that's why we do what we do.
Yeah, it's such a good movie. And I'm almost out of time already. I could ask you guys a million questions about it because I just
Uh,
loved it and I dissected like so many scenes of it.
that's so
But
cool.
for both of you, what are you hoping that fans get out of it when they watch it? Because there's so many layers to it. In addition to the tragedy, the relationship, the connection, the fight, so many great points you brought up, Harlow, so many great things, Thomas, you have said about your characters. All of that is encompassed in this movie. So what are you hoping when they walk in there? I feel like when you walk into the theater and you see this movie and you walk out, you're a little different after
Hmm.
this movie. So what
That's
are you
cool.
guys hoping for?
Well, we can't hope for more than that,
Yeah,
walk out a little
really.
different.
I
That's
feel like a broken record because I've kind of been saying that all day. It's like I hope you see some of yourself in it, and or even if it's an imagined version of yourself or a younger version, whatever it is, I hope you see some of yourself in it, or um, you know, or you learn something about yourself, or or you just have fun and and enjoy it. That's what I think is the funnest part of movie making. I don't know. Don't worry about it.
And Thomas, what about you? Are you like, what are you hoping? I guess like people walk out different, walk out changed, walk out hugging your family,
Yeah,
all the things.
hug your damn family. Yeah,
Yeah. Hug your family tight. Be nice to your daughters.
yeah. I hope people are
And sons.
able to reflect in a safe way about, look, we've all been sons, we've all been daughters, a lot of us have been fathers, and there's a lot that goes into building those relationships, and it's not always easy. And these kind of movies give you kind of a fun, safe space to experience a little bit of that, and that's why we do what we do, you know.
Yeah.
Let us entertain you.
This is why I want to keep you guys on for like an hour, but they'll kill me. So I just want to say thank you guys so much because I watched it twice.
Mm.
I love it. It's such a good movie. It's so well done. And
Yeah.
just both times I was like emotional at different parts of it and just felt differently after I watched it. And I viewed both of you actually differently. Thomas, I've seen a lot of your work. Harlow, I was so excited to see you, and you were so good in it,
Thank
especially
you.
for you, for this to be like the type of role that it is. And I just was so moved by it, and I just want to thank you guys for doing what
Oh,
you do and for putting it out there for all of us to see.
thanks, Monica. We love to hear that. Thank you
Thank you
so much.
so much.
Yeah,
Thank you
Appreciate
guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. I wish I could talk to you longer, but
thank you.
I'll let the film speak for itself when everyone sees it.
I
So,
appreciate that.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much.
guys, so much. Have a great rest of the day.
You
You too.
too.
Hope you guys enjoyed listening to Thomas Jane and Harlow Jane talk about their experience filming this movie. Don't forget to check it out. It's available now on Prime Video. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you're updated on all of our latest podcasts, and head over to our YouTube channel so you're updated on all of our video content.